You could have heard this episode 48 hours early on our Patreon, patreon.com/indieheadspodcast. By joining us for as low as $1 a month, you'll receive episodes early and gain access to our Discord server. All of our upcoming episodes will be on our Patreon 48 hours when it hits our public podcast feeds. But if you're hearing this via our Patreon feed, we thank you so much for your support. We especially want to thank our Real Ones patrons, including Becky Etienne, Georgia Mikowski, James Boss, Holiday Kirk, Marcy Anime, Chance Holdup, Delaney Mothman, Josiah Duncan, Jenna, Matt Cameron, Grant in the Back of My Dragula, Pablo Escobar's Hippos, Jackson Christ, Jeremy Bowl, Last Man on Earth 01, JP, Matthew Taylor, Breen Hare, Drew Wharton, I Like Books, Sarah Moore, Max Kapazinski, Mark Berry, Cal 50, The PP Poo Poo Fairy, Chris Wade, Midwest Maxwell, Kevin John, Jake Wald, Keep Autism Weird, Rob Marino, Max, Dylan, Zach, Gavin Varney Freak, and Maze Farms. To become a real one, consider supporting us for $5 a month on Patreon, where you'll see a bonus episode every month and get a shout out at the top of the pod. Anyways, though, enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty Monroe, here with Jackie, here with Rose, and special guest Reanna Cruz from the Switched on Pop podcast. Welcome all back to the pod. How are we doing, folks?
Fantastic.
Doing great. Yeah, man.
So
normal.
This one's a bit of an emotional one for me. Not for the subject matter, which we'll get into, but this is emotional because this is the last podcast that I'm recording in my apartment in Los Angeles as I move. Right now, we're recording this on Tuesday, August 29th. I move in 2 days, so this is the last thing that I'm recording in this room right now, which I'm very emotional about. And I just the 2 years here, it's been great. It's been great, but it's time for me to go. But before I go, we are here to go down. We're gonna play a great. America's favorite game show, the Madonna Roulette.
Yes.
Jackie, what is the Madonna Roulette?
Okay, so this is sort of a spiritual sequel to the Lady Gaga episode, and also...
But of course.
Yes, like, when we did that episode, I was like, okay, I think I even said in the episode, like, we have to do a Madonna episode, because obviously that's so fun talking about Lady Gaga, and there's so much more to cover with Madonna. And I was at first intimidated with the idea of, like, how to cover Madonna, because she has... famously so many eras, so many albums, a career that stretches insanely far and wide. And really the key theme of the Madonna discography is peaks and valleys, right? Like there is some mid in her catalog. Obviously any artist is bound to make some, but like there are some of literally, I think, the best pop songs ever made, some of the most popular ever, but like some of the very highest peaks of the form. And also just like some of the most questionable decisions ever made in pop music history, on a rate that is almost as high as the high peaks. And that is the, to borrow the phrase often used in middle school book reports, it's a land of contrasts, like...
Being a Madonna fan is also having your favorite worst Madonna album.
This is also
where
true.
It's like, I love my favorite Madonna album is Ray of Light, but also I will go equally up to bat for the Hard Candy and American Life of her catalog. Like there are defenders of the bad albums, and I think that makes Madonna's catalog super interesting because everybody has a favorite, and then everybody has like the guilty pleasure favorite,
Totally, yes.
Absolutely. But
right.
let's get into it.
I'll tell you our first song because I'm still.
Yeah.
I should have just done this before the podcast, but like for some reason I was like, let me do this live on air. But then I was like, wait, that's too complicated and unnecessary. So let's just start off with the number that I first rolled, which was 11, and that is a Spanish lesson. We're diving into the deep end, folks.
Let's go. It's Hard Candy time, baby. Let's go.
I was literally like Russian roulette style. Like if you were shuffling her entire discography, you have the chance to strike gold, or you have the chance to strike this song that is like the spiritual predecessor to Aura by Lady Gaga.
I don't speak German, but I can if you like.
I actually like this one quite a bit.
It's
I
not
maybe
bad.
is this a Timbaland or is this a Neptune's production?
So a little context about Hard
is a little
Candy.
too
It's
flagrant for
Madonna's 2008 album. So this whole album she's working with the Neptunes, Timbaland, Danja, and Justin Timberlake. So you could hear at a lot of beginning of the songs, it's like the Pharrell 4 count, you know, and that makes it honestly more interesting than the songs warrant. But it's really interesting. She's like leaning into like, I don't know, this is the album that 4 Minutes is on.
I think the thing I should be clear about immediately on this episode is that all of the great songs are just kind of are close in their quality. The bad songs are all unique flowers. Like, some of them are a great idea that's executed horribly, and then some of them are like a horrible idea executed geniusly. Like, it's just, so like this song, I think it's like very competently executed in some way, but like, I think this is one of the earliest and most obvious signs of Madonna, like, being up enough with the times to know what she should be doing, but it being very clear that, like, ma'am, you are an adult, like, doing this, and
Absolutely.
Like, if you can tell, like, it's sort of a how do you do, fellow kids sort of thing that she starts affecting more and more as her late career goes on.
That's so true. I mean, the album before this is Confessions, so like she very clearly is like, I can make really great pop music. And then her next studio record she puts out is this.
Like, it feels like Madonna has been in like a midlife crisis for like the last 15 years, and it feels like it starts with this record. You can maybe go back to like American Life and Confessions on the Dance Floor, but this seems to be the moment where it's like, okay, at this point, Madonna goes from like current pop star to like transitioning into a legacy act with this record. Even though this record had a big hit with 4 Minutes, like that was a big song.
Yeah.
But overall, it kind of feels like, okay,
It's
like
as
the time wears on, the relevance of these albums in terms of pop hits goes less and less and less and less.
I think I'm gonna be the only person to ever make this metaphor. It's kind of like Russell Westbrook, where like everyone just sort of assumes like, okay, at some point he will realize that he's not as good as he thinks he is anymore. Like, at some point he will learn to act his age and like adjust and change, and it just becomes clearer and clearer that like, no, in fact, the more she loses a step, like the more stubborn she's gonna get about trying to prove that she hasn't lost a step. Like,
true. Also, I think this song, we're gonna obviously talk a lot about Madonna and her personality and her ethos as an artist as the episode goes on, but I think Spanish Lesson instills one of Madonna's late career like important qualities, and that like she is obsessed with Latin culture. She is like, she has a fetish for Latinos and Spanish music, and it is literally present in the rest of her career, and it starts here where she is just doing a song that's like half in like really bad Spanish, you know, and then it goes all the way up to like Madame X.
Yeah, it's like a very key thing, and like we don't need to get into a larger cultural appropriation thing, but I think generally
absolutely not.
But like, I think the real thing you can tell is that like, if she was perhaps a little more ingratiated in the culture she's pulling from, she would understand that, no, Madonna, you cannot pull off the Spanish in this song. Like, this is not
the
coming
Spanish
across
lesson in question
as natural, and I think she's trying to lean into that with the title, exactly. But it's like, no, this is not campy. It's like,
I mean, I think it's campy
in
a kind of like out of pocket way, you know. Like,
exactly.
I listen to it and I'm like,
totally
yo, soy loco. Like, it kind of is hitting.
I mean, Justin Timberlake made Señorita and probably didn't get as much shit as Madonna did for this, you know.
Right.
To be fair, Justin Timberlake didn't get nearly enough shit for anything
I would
he
also
did
agree
in like
with that.
several decades.
Oh, that's true. Yes, 100%. I also agree that Señorita is a better song, but like, regardless, it's about as ridiculous. I just think it's a great place to start in terms of ridiculous Madonna, and also like, yeah, I didn't choose it, but this is a key one. I specifically, just before someone like asked this later, like, obviously we can't cover everything in her career. I kind of stayed clear of the like a Virgin, True Blue kind of, because I think those songs are like so culturally ubiquitous that it kind of like, what are we going to really have to say about like a Virgin or Material Girl, you know?
Right.
So I kind of wanted to focus on like the couple of hits of hers that I just loved the most, the couple of kind of not deep cuts, but just sort of like, hey, if you're not a Madonna fan, you might not know she also has this song that fucking rules. And then all of the bad songs,
and then the nonsense,
or all the other nonsense is like a real fucking mixed bag. And it brings me no pleasure to report that the next one is more nonsense. Birthday Song, Madonna and M.I.A.
God.
Okay,
let's go.
Okay.
Finally, the pairing we've been waiting for. You know, we need some anti-vax up in this business.
That reaction is valid, Matty, but also, to be clear, we're getting bullets out of the chamber here, right? Like,
are we now?
Yeah.
I know, that's true. I mean, in some ways, you want to get the bad stuff out early.
I would not like to have it all at once,
the good
thank you.
songs, it would create a gauntlet. I agree. But this is... It's just like I think this might be the most annoying to listen to of all of the songs on this playlist, and I think is like... This is why the Ting Tings like should be held accountable in court, you know? Like, this era, like, even though that song is pretty good, it's just like she and him and all of this era of indie taught a lot of people that they could do something like this when they can't, you know? And like having this song on the same album that has like Gang Bang and other incredible tracks.
Jackie, I was gonna say, like, the MDNA enjoyer has logged on. Like, I love this album, and I think like the first 5 tracks on MDNA are some of her like best opening tracks on a record. But then you get into the back half of the album, and it's like shit like this, and it's like, okay, like. Something Madonna doesn't understand.
Hang on,
she doesn't understand when to stop.
Matty, go back.
Go back in the song?
Go back to the album. I just...
Oh, yeah. Let's go back to the album.
MDNA.
I don't give a...
MDNA.
What does she not give?
I don't give a...
What does she not give?
She's not going to give you... She's not going to give you anything. She doesn't...
Go on, girl. Give us nothing.
Again, Rose... Go on, girl. Give us nothing, all right?
Oh, my God.
She doesn't have to give us anything, okay? You know.
No, Madonna is legally required to give me $50.
The cover for MDNA is giving a Zara ad.
So true. Jackie, I was going to say it's giving that scene in A Star Is Born when Allie Main is watching Jackson Main perform at the drag bar. And he's on stage, and she's looking at him from behind the stage, and she's behind like all the beads, and then she like pushes them to the side and like looks out. That's what that's giving.
Yeah, the turn of the century for Madonna, graphic design wise, is rough.
Awful.
It's
awful.
really down. Although Rebel Heart is kind of a great cover. She's slaying so hard on that cover.
I think it's a good album cover.
Rebel Heart is a good cover, but it was sullied by all the fucking posting she was doing of like MLK being like MLK was a rebel heart.
I mean, we'll get to that when we get to that album.
Right. We gotta get to Rebel
sorry,
Heart.
But every time you guys introduce some new element to me of this whole conversation, I'm just like, what are we doing here? What am I doing here? I can't comprehend these things.
You are an important control. No, this is the thing. We need someone that has that it's like. My favorite character in The Beach Bum is the daughter, because she's the only character in the movie that treats him like a normal person would, and that's what you serve in this in this episode is being like, what the fuck are we talking about? This is insane, like, because you're not desensitized to it like we are.
Right. I've spent my life thus far, my 23 years on this earth, being dedicated to Madonna, so I need somebody to like keep me grounded.
MDNA. I'm breathless. I know these names better than my own grandmother.
I am happy to report that not only are we listening to a good song, we are listening to a song that one Alec Felder once said is probably the best pop song ever, and I agree with him.
Can I guess? Oh yeah, I was gonna say borderline, iconic, legendary.
I see. This is unfortunately where I diverge. I kind of don't like her old hits. This is where I reveal that I'm just an absolute blasphemer.
I honestly, understand that in some ways, but this is one of the old hits that really work. I think that like she has some stuff in the albums after this, the really popular ones from the 80s that I didn't include here. Some of that stuff is like very, very 80s in a slightly dated way. This is like dated in a really charming way.
It's
like
just
this is like so 80s in a way that I find.
The self-title does not do it for me. I don't know what it is. Like I just listen to it, I'm like, I feel nothing.
I mean, it's definitely not her best work, but I think Holiday and Borderline are both fucking slappers.
I was gonna say Holiday, Borderline,
I especially
and
don't like Holiday.
Well, I think like those two songs, as well as Open Your Heart, which is a favorite of mine. I think like she sings all of them with a certain affectation to it that makes her seem really young, and I think like a power of Madonna is the way she's able to shift her voice from like the kind of cheesy naivety that she's doing on this versus like, you know, when she ages and she's singing like Don't Cry For Me Argentina and it's fucking massive. And I think that's what the charm is in her early songs, at least for me as somebody that like loves her career, is that like this song seems so earnest, I think, in a way that like she's obviously lost due to the fact that she's like grown, number one, but number two, like that sort of like scrappy earnestness that's present here, like I find it really charming.
I mean, see, I just kind of like, I think I realized I only like pop stars when they are either like the most normal humans possible, like Billie, or like just absolute freaks, like Gaga.
Right.
Like I need them to be
right.
freaks, and she's not being enough of a freak here for me to do it for her.
I could see that.
That is fair. Yeah, she needs to get her foot in the door before she can start being an insane person.
Yeah,
right,
she's not quite at the level she was in the Weird Al movie, the Al Yankovic story.
So Madonna is famously a Michigander and a dropout of the University of Michigan, but her daughter is a graduate of University of Michigan and was in the grade either I think 1 or 2 years below me, which is one of several connections to Madonna I have. I think I'll save my my personal relationship for when we get to Madam X herself.
Oh no.
Borderline
this is a fucking great song. I love
Borderline
this song.
perfect 10 in my book. I think like I would put Borderline in my top 10 Madonna songs, if not the top 5. But only because it's a very tight race, and my number 1 is on this list, so I'm excited to get to it.
I think I know what it is. Rihanna.
I really like this song a lot, although I think the one way you could kind of nick it is that like this is a really, really, really good song that a couple of different artists in the 80s could have released, and the best Madonna songs are songs that like no one else could have made.
That's really smart. Yeah, this gives like Cyndi Lauper.
Exactly, yeah.
I can totally see that. Or like fucking release Let's Hear It for the Boy. You know, like that chick.
Yeah, definitely.
Song.
Right, but like those aren't as good as something like this. And I don't know, like there's a lot of parallels between Madonna and Lady Gaga that of course like manifest over the course of Gaga's career. But I think like the main one for me is that scrappiness in both of their early careers. Like Madonna on this song, like or just in this era in general, is like fucking hungry. Like I've been reading this Madonna biography and the bitch fucking hustles. And I know we knew that, but like in this era, like early 80s, like she is fucking mad as hell. Just needing to get famous. She spent her whole life wanting to be famous.
She and Gaga have in common. Like the thing that people will say about like if you lived in New York City before Gaga was famous, like she was fucking playing in bars every single night. Like
exactly.
Madonna basically was at University of Michigan for 1 year and then dropped out and just moved to New York City and was like, I'm gonna be a dancer and
like figured it out. You know, like it's crazy. She used to be in this book, I just realized, or I learned, in fact, that she was dancing for Patrick Hernandez, who sang Born to Be Alive, that like disco hit. And then his team was like, oh, she has a lot of talent. And they tried to break her out to be her own star. And the record label kept giving her all of these things and giving, you know, her accommodations and all of these fancy things. And she essentially said, fuck that, I don't want that. Like, I want to become a star on my own merit, and I want to scrap, and I want to hustle. And I really respect that, you know? I can't do that. Somebody fucking handed me $1 million. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go do that now.
Yeah.
100%.
What a woman.
Yeah, this is a great song. Great pop song in my opinion. I hadn't really heard this one that much until preparing for this episode, but like goddamn, like you definitely it is like a kind of just 80s synth pop that in some ways has been endlessly replicated just even today. Like it just people are still trying to make this song over and over again, and it's just not going to be the same. You're just not going to be able to do it as good as this.
Yeah,
this is a real, it's just so pure.
This is a real "We're Losing Recipes" song. It's just like
exactly. Nobody makes them like this anymore.
Exactly.
No, it's very charming and sweet. I really do enjoy it quite a bit. And it's one of the few solves that we have on this episode.
Matty, it brings me no pleasure to report. It's Hanky Panky time.
Oh god damn it! Oh, here's Rose's turn.
Dude. So the thing I want to point out at the song as you hit play, Matty, the beginning of the song is exactly the same as "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
Wait, oh come on!
Literally, Matty, stop it, pause it, and play the beginning of "Lose Yourself" right now.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me pull up.
I did the side by side, and I thought maybe I was being. All right, now do Hanky Panky.
Okay, Hanky Panky. Let me turn this up a little bit so I can hear
it. Kind of.
It's like the time they took the time, they like half timed it, but yeah, no, like
it's like a little bit "Lose Yourself," a little bit like Batman theme, and then it immediately becomes very Batman.
It descends into madness very quickly. Hanky Panky is from an album inspired by the movie Dick Tracy. Just need to point that out before we get into it, because that really puts a lot into context.
Got some stuff going on there. Real good time. Like in the past month or so, since I don't remember how many months it was since we originally said we were going to record this, but last time we said we were going to record this, I watched Dick Tracy because I was like, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to take the sacrifice and watch this Warren Beatty movie. And oh my god, it was demented and incoherent, and I just like I could feel the energy in that moment of like late era Madonna seeping through. I'm like, she got all of this from Warren. Like they have the same brainworms. Like she had the same brainworms that compel someone to make Madam X are the same brainworms that compel someone to make Dick Tracy Zooms In, the like hour-long TV special where Dick Tracy is on a Zoom call that purely exists to hold the rights to Dick Tracy.
And we should be clear that in this is the second time Warren
Beatty has done this.
Because Warren Beatty bought the rights from a different company that owned the rights. It's very rare for the actor that played the character to own the rights to a piece of IP, and the contract of which he owns the rights is only presupposed under him making something every so often. And after a while of him sitting on it, and they're like, hey, asshole, you gotta fucking make something. So he makes this first special in which he clarifies that Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy are two different people.
And they interact with each other. They like Warren Beatty interviews Dick Tracy.
Yes, he parrot traps himself, essentially.
It is demented. And he does this a second time, and he invites Ben Mankiewicz from TCM to just like help assist him with a Zoom call. It is like... Oh my god, old people are just...
I highly recommend Podcast The Ride on their Patreon feed, but they just released it to their main feed. They did an entire episode on Tracy Zooms In, and they break it down in more detail than anyone ever really should.
But it's great. But yeah, Madonna in that movie, really fascinating. She's just kind of going for it in a way that like I don't think any human should. It's almost disturbing. You're just like, what is going on here? Like I don't know what this performance is, but I'm kind of enthralled by it. It gets the people going. And then meanwhile,
I think it's very much it's very much like Tom Hanks and Elvis, or like Jared Leto and House of Gucci. Like,
yes.
they're making at the end of the day, they're making choices. Are they good choices? It's hard to say, but I'm very entertained watching this movie.
Yeah, no,
they're
exactly.
just going for
Meanwhile,
it.
the other movie that I watched this time when they were like, okay, we're finally recording this time, I watched Desperately Seeking Susan. I kind of get the Madonna star persona now. It really clicked into place, both halves for me. I was like, I think I get her as a person now, just from these two.
Her acting career is fascinating because, like, she's not an incredible actress.
No.
You know? And this is another parallel between her and Lady Gaga. It's like they're both not great actresses, but they have moments of brilliance because of how much they commit. And I think Dick Tracy is worth it for a few reasons, but I think one of those reasons is Madonna. And I think, like, Evita, the only reason Evita is, like, worth watching is because of Madonna. You know, like Evita is like dog shit, Andrew Lloyd Webber garbage, but Madonna is in it and sings, and it's great.
Also, Desperately Seeking Susan connects to Tracy Zooms In because famously in the movie, Madonna goes out and dances in the club to a Madonna song, approaching the question of, does Madonna exist in this universe? Are they separate people? Etc.
I think they are. Like, I think her character in Dick Tracy is different, but just barely. Like, there's just a thin veil. If they met each other, it would be like one of those situations in the movies where, like, you can't meet your past self, the world's gonna explode.
It's just like Project Almanac, you know, where that's sort of the role where, yeah, if you come across your past self, you both just disappear, you know? Like,
but yeah, Hanky Panky is, I think, kind of the moment that it really, I mean, like, obviously this is especially a lark because it's related to this weird movie, but, like, I think it's also the moment where, like, she starts to lose her command of her, like, sexuality, because, like, at the very peak of her powers, I think, like, her attempts to be, like, provocative are just very effective and well executed for the most part, and then very quickly, like, once you get into the 90s, like, that, like, it all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is now like someone's horny aunt in like an uncomfortable way.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Okay. Erotica came out 92 and Bedtime Stories came out 94, I think. And I like the horny aunt vibe, in my humble opinion.
I do too.
I like it more than just plain Madonna. I will be perfectly honest. That is much preferable.
I agree, but I think that the I'm Breathless is like the so that comes out in 1990,
right? Maybe like something snapped in her brain after Dick Tracy.
I think
dating Warren Beatty would do things to anyone.
Well, yes. This is part of it. B, it's also she's just been famous for so long, but it's like I think this is the moment where her desire to be like this like sex icon starts to even as it's going to be enjoyable for the next 6 years, right? Like the next 2 albums are good, but that the bill is going to come due for this eventually, and Hanky Panky is like the foreboding warning of songs to come, like the next song we're gonna have to talk about, which is unfortunately "Bitch I'm Madonna." Well, actually,
that one's good.
I feel
we'll get
a lot
into
of
it.
ways. Listen, first of all, rest in peace, Sophie. It's still really fucked up, and it's especially fucked up that this is simultaneously a beautiful representation of Sophie's music and also kind of a bastardization of it in a weird way. I don't know. I feel very complicated about this song.
I love it. It's really good.
I think the song is... Yeah, I'm on the camp of like this song is a masterpiece, I think, and I think it's so ahead of its time in like a extremely campy way. Like, is it a good song? That's up for debate, but like I don't know. I think it's like of the moment and ahead of its time. Like it transcends the year.
I think it is genius, and just like how it's so just like fully just goes like, yeah, trashy doesn't exist anymore, and they're saying there's no rules now. You know, like there's no rules. You can do whatever you want. Make a pop song. It's good.
I will say I'm almost there with the song. The one part of it that just really kind of ruins it for me is that wah 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 EDM drop, because
I love that.
that is the one part of it that to me is like so dated to this era specifically, and I also just my EDM day trauma like combined with that, I think just I like the parts of the song where it's like the very obviously Sophie super saws, you know, but then like once you get to that fucking fart synth, I just really do not like it one bit. It reminds I've been to too many Flostradamus shows, Rose. You don't understand.
Not Flostradamus.
Could have been worse.
Like,
you could have said something like Grizz or something. I don't know. Just, ooh.
Listen, I even at my worst, I was never a
Grime.
Grizz fan. That is actually true. I have seen R.L. Grime too many times. I think like 9, I want to say.
Oh my
like
god.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, Jesus.
Oh my god, 9?
It was I saw him like a couple times in college, in high school, several times in college festivals. Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's like 8 or 9 or something.
It's like
that.
on one hand you have seeing Grizz 9 times, on the other
No, Grizz,
you have
R.L. Grime.
R.L. Grime. Oh, okay.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I'm glad I
Rose
almost
said
gaslit
R.L.
that
Grime, and I
belief
think
into
you
you.
missed. No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right,
Just
R.L.
to
Grime
be
is
clear.
a little bit better than Grizz, but I
Yes.
understand.
Yes, we don't need to get into that. But yeah, no, I just think that this, like, I think you're right that it's ahead of its time in that, like, this is 1 year after Charlie XCX released Sucker, right? Like, she is
Right.
not quite yet doing the big, giant air quotes hyper pop thing yet. Madonna is adopting it. I mean, what's it called? Art pop has come out by this point, so it's a little
Same
bit
year.
writing.
No.
What?
Oh, sorry. I thought this was on MDNA. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This is Rebel Heart.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
This is like 20.
So this is
14?
post art pop, so she
15.
doesn't, I think, get like full credit for this, and I also think this is a little bit more restrained than art pop is, if I can even say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I think that in that way it's not quite, I don't know. It's kind of half stepping between trying to be the most ridiculous song Madonna's ever made and also trying to be like traditionally successful, and I think it gets caught in a weird gray area.
Yeah. I mean, I think like
I like this part right here.
Yeah,
though.
this part's great. I don't know. I feel
Obviously.
like not to sort of like theorize about Sophie's legacy or whatever, but I think like for me as a listener, I think it's like very satisfying and fulfilling to hear Sophie's production under one of the biggest pop stars of all time. You know, and like I think just like whether or not the song sounds good, you know, like if you just like wrote on paper Madonna and Nicki Minaj song produced by Sophie,
Yes.
like no matter what it sounds like, I would automatically be into it. So I think like also the video for this song is like really crazy because it's like a million famous people just like kikiing with Madonna over Sophie production. Like something about that just like really
it is
speaks
great
to me.
Like I like that it exists. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
right. Like I like that it exists to the point where like sound even comes secondary because of the sublime nature of the collaboration in the first place. You know, like it's definitely a bright spot on Rebel Heart, I could tell you that.
Oh, well, that's the other thing is that if you're also judging this on the metric of a 2015 and beyond Madonna, then it's like, oh yeah, this
Right.
fucking rules. Although I will say, and this is a tangent because I didn't pick it for this episode because I don't think it even existed when I came up with this idea. I unfortunately kind of do like the Weekend Playboy Cardi Madonna song.
Oh, I love it.
That album sucks, but that song is good.
I love it.
Popular is a very good song, and Madonna sounds good on it. She like
I do too.
I
think so
think
as well.
when I listened to that song, I was like, wow. I think it highlighted for me what I was trying to articulate about like Spanish lesson, where like somehow Madonna manages to not sound like she's trying to fit in with younger people on that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's something about her vocal performance that like understands what song it is, and sometimes I think for a while Madonna had such an unbelievable mastery of her image that she sort of gets a little too confident at a certain point, and then with how she's being perceived, and then there gets to be a point where she's not as in control of how campy she's being on purpose, and etc.
Yeah. Good song. That's my vote. My take is good song.
Well, you know what else?
I
sorry. Go ahead.
I appreciate it for being I think like bringing Sophie in before any other pop star
Yeah,
or
Right.
big
that's kind
rapper
of the
would do it
coolest
before.
thing. Yeah,
Right.
about
It's
it.
like, okay, like Madonna was definitely thinking ahead of the curve by bringing in like Sophie to do production on this.
Yeah, like,
like,
Big Fish Theory
is it the
isn't
best
for
what
2
Sophie
more
would do?
years.
No.
You know what I mean? Like we're very early on in the, like, Sophie hasn't worked with Charlie XCX yet. Sophie hasn't done,
Like, it's
Big
only
Fish
a
Theory,
year
yeah.
or so after like the product singles had dropped. Really, like
Exactly.
really ahead of the curve, which I appreciate. Is the song good?
Yes.
And that's
Is
kind
the
of what I
song
said.
good? Is it? Here's the thing. I should reiterate. Is the song
Yes.
good? I don't know. Is it bad? I don't know either. It is a land of contrast. This song in particular, I cannot decide either way.
I do think that no, yeah, I think you're mostly correct. I do think that you're right. It's cool though that, like, Madonna identified Sophie, as I said, because she does have a very good compass of like where culture is at. She doesn't always then have the best compass of like how to execute that, you know? Like,
Mhm.
she can sense where the winds are going, but she's not going to shoot her arrow straight at this point in her career necessarily. But I do
Yeah.
think this is just it's good that it exists. Other
Yeah.
things that are good that they exist, Like a Prayer, perfect, the best, maybe, yeah, like one of my favorite songs of all time, Like a Prayer.
What is there
I-
to say about this song that hasn't already been said?
I think I'll bring this up more when we get to the Mad Max songs. Spoiler alert, isn't coming up for a little bit. I worked the Madam X tour when it had a residency at the Wiltern Theater because I was a theater usher there. And so she played 10 shows across, I think, like 13 or 14 nights, which is crazy. I think I worked like 8 or 9 of them or something like that. And then
I couldn't get a
immediately
ticket.
got
I remember being
sick
pissed.
afterward.
I was so mad. I couldn't get a ticket.
And every single night, the last song of, actually not the last song, unfortunately, but like the big, like, the encore coming out moment is that there are these stairs on the stage that of course form a big giant X, like crisscrossing stairs, and then an entire gospel choir that is there every night and is not used for any other part of the show all appear and do a full like choir behind her as she does Like a Prayer, and everyone in the entire audience sings along. And like, there have been a couple of times in that period of time when I was working at the theater where I was like, oh wow, I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of this person, but like I was really impressed. And I was already a fan of Madonna, but like seeing her do that song like 7 or 8 times and seeing it bring the fucking house down in a way I've literally never seen someone do, like, it was really, oh wow, like even at this point in this person's career, and we'll get to the lows of the Madam X show when we get to the song from Madam X, but like when it was hitting, oh my god, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible
Yeah.
stuff.
Like a Prayer, I think, is one of the world's greatest pop songs.
It's
You know,
perfect, yeah.
It's perfect. It's perfect on concept, on melody, on lyrics, like on cultural impact. Like,
the video,
right, exactly. The video is insane. You know, if you haven't
Oh,
seen
of
it, she's like
course.
burning crosses and shit. There's like Black Jesus. Like, it's so.
she's horny
Crazy.
for Black Jesus too.
She's
That's the
horny
other
for
thing.
Black Jesus. That is the concept of the video, and it's kind of like ahead of. I hate to keep saying ahead of its time, but like it is, you know, and it was kind of unheard of at the time. And to boot, alongside with that, the song is fucking incredible and is still heard everywhere today. I think it's probably like I would say like this and Vogue are Madonna's biggest hits.
Yes.
I can't speak now. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Do you not like this song?
Yeah.
No.
What is wrong with you, Rose?
I don't know.
What is
I
wrong
just
with you?
I have really trashy taste in pop music, and I've come to accept that over time. I just like, yeah,
And it's because you lived under a rock. You lived under a rock for so long.
and
so like
now,
your
like the
cultural
only things I
touch
can
points are so
understand, the
fucked.
only things I can understand, like the only music that broke through during that time for me was like those singles from the summer of Black Eyed Peas. Like those were the only 2 songs. And somehow, like, that has just, like, had a butterfly effect on me where I'm like, yeah, I only want the worst shit.
I get what you mean there. But I also think that like that there's a certain effect that like because this song has been like the GOAT for so long that it now feels like it is this like canonical sort of classier thing when it is like, as Reanna was saying, like it was pushing buttons and being provocative, but it was not necessarily doing so in like a very it was very calculated and smartly calculated, right? But it wasn't necessarily like ideological. I'm just trying to say that it was like fucking I don't know what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going.
Yeah, no, that was the joke I was literally making earlier.
Yeah, like Madonna was, I mean, like so many of the things they play on in every single pop star like type of parody, like Pop Star Never Stop Never Stopping or whatever. Like Madonna is the original pop star who gets so inflated that it becomes this like.
And I'm not even saying
it's just like a giant song.
It's culturally overexposed. I'm just like, I just don't like this one. I don't know. Just the impulse in my brain does not work correctly for music. Like the things I should like, or art in general. I like a lot of trash, and I just kind of come to accept that. I'm like a weird mixture of a garbage dump and like an art house freak, and I enjoy that.
I do want to make a quick note for this song. I love this song a lot for a variety of reasons, but one of them is that it is the entrance theme for an Irish professional wrestler named Grado.
Like,
who's just like
how
this
is
tubby.
he gonna do it?
Oh,
How is
yeah.
he gonna bring wrestling?
Yeah, I was wondering where are we going with this one?
This like tubby Irishman who comes out not to the original. I think it's just a cover version of it. And during one of the promotions at the time, he wrestled for called Insane Championship Wrestling. It was one of their biggest shows. I think it was like 6,000 people, which for like an independent show is a lot of people for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the sold out SCCC in Glasgow.
Okay, Scotland, I should say. Scotland.
It is now time for your main event of the evening for the ICW World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he is a worldwide phenomenon.
You have 6,000 plus people
fucking awesome.
singing like a prayer. Mostly men, by the way. Mostly men singing the song at the top of their lungs.
Sing it loud! Here is Reanna!
Oh,
Love him. I love him. Hell yeah.
This tubby Irishman who's wearing like a singlet and like a backwards cap is just like fucking.
He's like duck walking down the runway.
Yeah.
This man has been so instrumental in
Hell yeah.
It's just incredible.
that rules. That is great.
On yourself, son.
And of course,
On yourself.
the very Scottish
I think this
commentators.
is the dance mix. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
We're so proud of him. Can he do it?
He looks
Can
like
he do it tonight?
I hate to say this. He looks like Kyle Rittenhouse a little bit.
Oh my god, you're so right.
You didn't have to say it.
I realized I shouldn't say. I stopped, and then I just did. Whatever. Matty, we can move on.
Yeah.
He looks
Okay,
a
we
little
can
like
move on.
Patton Oswalt mixed with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes, exactly.
But I just want to mention that. That's why
No,
I have a
that's
very
good.
positive association.
That's
with the
good.
song.
Land of Contrast. It's American Lifetime.
Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Hot takes coming in from me. All right, I
Oh,
want to.
yeah.
I want
This
to
one
jump in
again,
with a
don't
hot
remember
take.
What it sounds like.
It's very
How
funny
could
that
you
Reanna mentioned
forget?
like you have your favorite trash Madonna, and here's the thing with this song. This song is mostly pretty damn good, except for the rap, which we'll get into.
Oh wait, this
But
one.
aside from the rap,
this one.
the rap is very bad, but the
Yeah.
rest of the song is very good. Like I actually like this quite a bit.
She didn't
Yeah,
have to do
it's-
the rapping.
What, you don't like lines like
I'm drinking
I
a
get,
latte.
I get a double shot. It goes right through my body, and you know I'm satisfied.
Think
about that all the time.
It rocks. Just like,
Nah, it's-
like I hear
yeah.
something horrible, and I'm like, this owns, dude. This owns.
Yeah,
It's
this
certainly
is,
a choice.
This is one of my favorite Madonna songs. I know I'm gonna say that about like most of these songs, but this is one of my favorite
Oh, I
Madonna
love this song.
songs. It's I think like you know, as much as Spanish Lesson is camp, like I think American Life is camp for very similar reasons. And also, you know, with all of these songs, you kind of have to consider like the visuals and everything and the album that they're on. But with this song, she had to release 2 videos because the first video was like too provocative. And then you like couple that with a rap of her like talking about shitting from drinking too many soy lattes, and it just like becomes this like this like wonderful picture of contrast that I don't know, I feel like I could imagine Madonna's like embarrassed of this song, and I kind of would be too, but I appreciate
Here's
it.
the thing. I don't think Madonna has ever been embarrassed about anything she's ever done in her entire life.
This is
Matty,
true.
no, that's so true. That's so true.
This is like
Wow, she's just like me.
During her Courtney Love's interview with Yasi Solid. Actually, it wasn't Yasi. It was Robert Villa for Bandsplain. And at one point during the interview, she goes, "What's that thing? Imposter syndrome? I've never had that a day in my life."
So
And
true.
that is a very Madonna.
That's the Madonna ethos. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine her like in the studio, like laying this down, being like, "Guys, I have the perfect idea for the back half of this song." Because like this part is incredible, and then it just like it just goes off the rails. I don't know. I feel like this is like a hidden gem of Madonna's discography.
You know what this I thought thinking of this song, and it's kind of a little not blasphemous, but this is 2003, which is a full 5 years before 808s and Heartbreaks. And when you hear
She was doing
Where
this
are
sound
you
on
going
music
with
though.
this?
auto-tune, loopy synths, this is the blueprint. Like this is ahead of its time for 2003.
But here's the thing, though.
bit.
You can go back to, because this is very like this album, from what I know, and this song especially is very much in line with like the stuff she was doing on music, where it's like that
so
kind
yes.
of the
I
French
think music is better. Like to be clear, if I had to pick, but I also think that's like going back to like the dichotomy between me and Rose, where like I think music like should be complete trash, but it's executed like so classily, as we'll get to when we get to that song.
Yeah.
But this is more. I kind of like the rap. I'm not gonna lie.
And you know I'm satisfied. I do yoga and Pilates.
the rap is kind of growing on me. Like it's
Exactly.
very
I was just
it's
like,
ve-
yes,
it's just it's so camp. It's so camp.
And in terms of like other kind of like cringe sort of white girl rap like this is much like less brutal
This
to
part.
listen to than like Iggy Azalea.
could
Yep.
Madonna do that?
Madonna, like she might not have known it, but she ushered world peace in with this song.
It's so true.
All world conflict was finished. You know, she
Actually,
in her
wait,
mind, she solved all the problems in the world.
No, that's not true. It was almost done. She had to circle back around on Madam X and release I Rise.
Okay, so true.
There was
so
still
true.
stuff to like.
There were still problems. She had to release
I
God
keep wanting
Control.
to talk about the Madam X tour. I have so much to say, but like, so after Like a Prayer every night, she would close with I Rise, which is the closer of Madam X.
What
and
an
is, like,
idiot! Like, what an idiot to close
No.
out your set list, not with like a prayer, but by a deep cut
They
from your
bring the
latest
whole
album.
No, this is the thing. The house comes down. People are losing their fucking minds. It's like the absolute peak of energy. Instead of thank you, good night,
Right.
it then stops, and then it starts playing like an inspirational video where it's like all of these protests and stuff cut together, and then Madonna like appears and she's like, "We all rise," and then the show ends with her like leading the procession of both the chorus, the whole chorus line, and then also there was a band that is a part of the Madam X show that, speaking to your her lifelong fetishization of Spanish and Portuguese speaking
her
people,
coffee shop buddies.
yes, she famously, literally, was just I think in Portugal and walked into a cafe where there was like a band of like 12 people playing live music, and she was like, "Oh, this is so lovely. I will take you on tour. You're coming with me." And she just sort of like adopted this Portuguese band, and she tells this story every night, like in the middle of the set, like after a song that they like are on stage for, and she's like, this is my band that I've brought on tour," and I'm just like imagining what those people's lives are like the day Madonna walks into your job and is just like,
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's just like, I'm
just
whisking you
imagine
away.
them like just being in the same way as like Panda Bear, where he's like, you know, he's like, I live in Portugal.
Yes, exactly.
That's just the personality of like
that was their response. Like Madonna's like, "Do you want to come in toward me?" They're like, "I live in Portugal."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, let's move on to our next song. What do we have up next? Okay, After American Life. Again, Land of Contrast. Back to Frozen, baby. Ray of Light.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Ray of Light
Let's go.
When I said
Let's
my
go.
favorite Madonna song is on this playlist, I'm talking about Frozen.
This is
Okay,
Good
I thought
pick.
it was like a prayer. So I was wrong.
Like a
on
Prayer
that
is
one.
up there.
This is
Frozen,
so
though,
good.
I think is like, I think it's the perfect ethos of what makes Madonna great. And I think a lot of it is her ability to communicate such a distinct human emotion that I can't articulate into words. Like, this song passes on to me such feelings of like distinct nostalgia for a time I've never experienced. Like, I hear this song and it whisks me back like into past lives. Like, it's crazy. And this whole album, Ray of Light, is, I think, up there with, you know, in my top 3 favorite albums ever. And a lot of it is her exploring spirituality. She's playing in these trance and Balearic house realms. And it really, really works for her, because I think a lot of her career in her later years, as we've talked about, right, is her like trying to be like, how do you do, fellow kids, and trying to like ingrain herself with modern pop and modern culture. Ray of Light,
Yeah.
I think, is perfect because it's a distinct left turn into mature music that really, really works for Madonna. And it's really upsetting that she doesn't do stuff like this more, because all of Ray of Light is a beautiful treatise on being a mother and finding spirituality and letting things go and saying goodbye and all of this stuff. And I think that's all encapsulated in a track like Frozen. Like, it's so beautiful. I think that's like microtonal harmony when she goes like, and it's just genuinely beautiful, accompanied by an absolutely beautiful Chris Cunningham video that is gorgeous. Anyway, I love Frozen.
I love this song so much. It's definitely in my top like 4 or 5 Madonna songs, I would say. I obviously knew like she was pulling from all kinds of 90s electronica on this record. Like, there's a lot of trip hop, there's a lot of techno, trance,
yeah.
etc. But this song, especially listening to it today, I was like, oh wow, she was really into Portishead's Roads, is what the song gives to me.
Absolutely.
But I think that's what you're saying is like so true, that like you would think that her trying to be sort of restrained or mature wouldn't work, but it's like she is so big no matter what she's doing, that if you give her a very grounded, relatable topic and then very classy production, she can take that to the stratosphere. Like, she can take it and make it as big as possible.
Like, we have convinced ourselves as a culture that older women can't exude class unless they're like, I don't know, like fucking Real Housewives bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, Madonna on this record, like, is an older woman who is a mother and is exuding such a high level of class and mystique and opulence, I think, that is so untethered to like values or money or the way that she like carries herself in the world. Like, I find it fascinating.
The one person that we get that sort of strikes us here, I feel like this song is like the most Adele Madonna song.
Yes, exactly, Jackie.
Although I do think like the difference with this is, as much as this is like a heartbreak song, it's still kind of sexy in a way that like Adele's like, it's a little more like rhythmic and a little more groove oriented than Adele's music ever really is. And that's what I really I think I sent it to you a couple of weeks ago, but Nora Zion has a remix of this song that is like kind of breakbeaty stuff that's just really, really, really good. And I just the way she sings the if I could melt your heart, just every single time, it like, oh, it's so good. It's reaching a well so deep with something so simple.
This is my dad's favorite Madonna song. My dad also is like this like big Puerto Rican guy from New Jersey, you know, from Hudson County, New Jersey, and he loves Madonna, and this is his favorite Madonna song. And I remember being like 6 years old and listening to this in the car with my dad, and I think that's why there's like an extra layer of connection that I have with this song. I just find it so beautiful, and I think like I'm thinking of that prompt that's going around on Twitter right now that's like your top 20 songs that inspire joy or whatever engagement bait that is, but I could put like 3 or 4 songs from Ray of Light on that list and they would perfectly fit.
I also it's fitting you say that about your dad, because earlier when we were talking about Borderline, I was thinking like this is Big Time Tommy music. And there's a lot of overlap between Madonna's
my
various
father,
cultural
Big Time
legacies
Tommy,
and the people of New Jersey.
Yeah, no, Madonna and the people of New Jersey are intertwined. She's like, in my book, and I could say this because I'm Puerto Rican, she's like honorary Jersey Puerto Rican. Like, it really, like, I don't know, something about her just like speaks to the people, you know? Like Madonna is the girl of the culture. You know, lots of parallels between her and Eva Perón. I watched Evita very recently, which is why there's a lot of Evita references. But I watched it like 2 weeks ago in preparation.
All right, here is one of.
Hang on, can I say one quick thing?
Sorry.
What I really like about this song is it's very reminiscent of like homogenic Bjork. Like it very much feels like
same
Madonna's take on that sound.
Oh, that's a really good call. She's not working with Guy Sigsworth yet. That's not till music, I don't think. Yeah. Also, I looked this up. I didn't realize this, but I don't know if it was the whole record, but Ray of Light, the song, we'll talk about it later, is recorded at a studio in North Hollywood. Not far,
really?
Which is cool.
Hello.
All right, let's listen to not that song. Let's listen to the other song from Rebel Heart on this playlist. I am talking about Iconic, which...
Don't say who the feature is. Don't say who the feature is.
I won't say it.
Because I played this in the office today, and I was like, there is a feature on this song, and I want you to guess who it is.
Well, there's 2 features if you count the sample that we're hearing right now.
This song is bad.
This is the worst song on the playlist, I think.
Yeah, I think like I feel comfortable saying that this song is awful.
Like, B-Day's song is annoying.
Right.
It's close, but this is I think
terrible.
like it is so like horribly dated.
I think that B-Day's song is a little more grating. This is a little bit more of a war crime. The Mike Tyson sample and the credited feature at the start of this, the other feature that I won't say until we get to it. This feels like the most Black Eyed Peas derogatory song that she's done. Like the EDM build-up of it all is very cheesy and not a good way.
Well, guess what? I really enjoy this one.
And that makes a lot of sense.
But like both the Ray of Light songs on this playlist I adore, but like that's just like my one exception to the trash rule. It's just like everything else I'm like, yeah, dude, just let me bury.
We'll get back to the other Ray of Light song in a second. We
have
one more.
Let me bury myself in garbage. Let me roll around in it. Let me just, yeah, dude.
I respect it. I do like, even though I deeply hated this era of massive air quotes trap music in pop music, I do kind of have to even commend how bad of a car crash the kind of trap drums in this are. Like, it really is like you can't look away, even though it is a crime for sure. Yeah, the synth bass is very just like dime a dozen. Like, there's a million songs that have this exact same bass synth line.
Madonna's biggest crime is being mediocre, because when you're an artist that has such high peaks as we've been talking about, like, the worst thing that you can do is become so boring and middle of the road, and Iconic is an embodiment of it. Like, it's the type of song that's like instantly dated.
Yeah, and for it to be this boring and for it to be featuring the people it's featuring is insane.
It feels like
Instagram
this Reels
fucking
music.
Like Jason Derulo ass like EDM breakdown. Awful.
Yeah,
just wait.
Jason Derulo wiggle.
Just you wait.
I'm doing the white girl wiggle right now.
Okay, not yet. Okay, I thought our future was coming on the song,
Man,
but I guess it's
Wait for it.
momentarily.
It's like a jump scare that we're waiting for.
literally. What an ass song. Ugh.
The most 2015 song in existence, folks.
The
In
exhale that
case
just
you
left
can't-
my mouth.
In case you can't tell who that voice is, that is Chance the Rapper.
Let's go,
On this fucking
baby.
song.
Let's go. Let's bring it on.
It's really funny to think about the fact that this song comes out just like less than a year before Ultralight Beam. Like this was at the peak of Chance the Rapper's
That's
powers.
actually, Jackie. That's real.
I just
I
collaborated
didn't
with
think
Madonna.
about it in
I'm never
that.
gonna fail.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like it makes sense that she like this was in Chance's rise from being like to being like a
Yeah.
mainstream star, so it does make sense why Madonna would like meet him at a party and be like, "You get on my album" or
Well,
whatever.
he just
But,
seems
like,
to fit her mindset so perfectly. I'm like,
No, totally. But like we should have like now in hindsight, we should have seen like this is before Coloring Book comes out, and we were still looking forward to that record. And this is before Ultralight Beam, and we should have seen this as a warning.
I was the one person who consistently said this man is a cornball, and nobody listened to me.
You were right, Rose.
You were right.
You
Yeah.
were right.
I never backed
I
down
got
to my
tickets
beliefs.
to Chance the Rapper 10-year acid rap show for my friend's birthday, so I will be going to the Forum to see that.
It would probably be a fun, good show. Acid was
I
still
would have a
a
fun
good
time
record.
with it, even though
I'm just
there
gonna
would be
like
some
pretend
amount
it's
of...
2013. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like when I
You'd be
saw
really
Girl
effective
Talk.
at doing that. Like
Right.
it'll really help get you.
Right,
in
it'll
that
turn back
mindset.
the clock. You know, for one
You're-
night.
You're going through a time portal, okay?
Yeah,
and
see-
you enter the time portal, and then you leave after. You're like, okay, that 2013, that was fun. to
Yeah,
go
I,
through.
Right, that was-
I
that
can't
was
do
cool.
anything like that now. It's like, you know how people say like some actors just can't do period pieces because they look like they know what a cell phone is.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
me trying to like do any sort of throwback of it. It's just like I know what the novel coronavirus is. I can't go back.
That is
All right, we've got
That is
4
fair.
songs left.
okay.
And we've got only one bad one, but it's really bad. But this is a good one. It's time for Rain from
Okay.
Erotica. And
Ugh.
also
Rain.
from
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. It's the song that Julia Fox leaves blasting on. By the way, just like incredible power move to take this song and just be like, I'm going to have this song playing on a loop so that when you come home and I'm not here, you will be confronted with Madonna. Like, it's so good.
Oh
Look at
man,
this song. Oh,
this is Madonna's ballads at their peak. You know, like this and Frozen are two of her best tracks. This
You know what?
this is an extension, I think, or this predated Frozen. But again, Madonna playing mature, and it works really well and comes across very profound.
I will just say
Go ahead,
I don't
Maddie.
really care for this one, but also I'm just generally someone that like ballads are you really gotta win me over on a ballad. Like if you don't reach a certain very high threshold, like it's just not gonna deliver with me. So but I fully admit that as a fault of my own.
I get that in general, although I will say there's a certain kind of ballad in a lot of pop albums that just like completely like sucks all like momentum and rhythm out of the room, and it's like you're just getting voice and piano and emotion and that's it. And this song has a nice little beat to it that does enough to kind of keep you bopping around. Like this is a song that you could that would like the ideal situation for listening to this song if you're not playing it for Adam Sandler is like you're in the grocery store but you're going through it.
To be fair,
And
I think most
Like,
music
yeah.
would be
talk about
enhanced
the
if
grocery
Adam
store.
Sandler were my audience. Like, imagine getting in front of
True.
him to like play fucking. I tried to think of a good example of this.
No, but like as we were saying in the grocery store episode, like there's a certain kind you can't like have a song that's actually like sad in the grocery store, but then like this song manages to like feel more upbeat than Frozen does. It kind of the song that it reminds me of, not only just because of the obvious lyrical connection, but like what this song is for 1992 is what Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield is for 2004. Feel the rain on your skin,
real,
etc.
So real.
but it's like a song that's about like you're going through something, but this is the cathartic, like I'm coming out the other side of this. Like this song is the other best way to experience this is if you are Nicole Kidman just getting divorced from Tom Cruise, like spreading your arms wide with the divorce papers.
Yes.
Like that's what this song is for, like spiritually.
So true. I think this song as well, Madonna produced it. She wrote and produced it alongside Shep Pettibone, who also worked on Vogue with her. And a lot of songs from this era, this early 90s. The song is on Erotica, which came out in, I believe, 92. So early Madonna, we see her kind of playing, and toying in this era of sexuality and different things than her previous work and trying on new pop sounds. I love it.
This is a great record.
Great record. Big fan. If this song, I mean, not to take it there, but Rain is on Erotica, which is an album about sex. So, what is the rain in question? Food for thought.
This is true. I mean,
I'm not going to say it. I'm not
I'll
going to say
say
it.
it. I'll say it.
Just some food for thought.
I'll say it.
Just some food for thought.
What is it, Rose? What do I not want to say?
Because think about it, they, like after you win the most erotic thing on the planet is winning a sports championship and getting Gatorade dumped in your head. Everyone knows this.
There is something kind of admirable about Madonna's career, and this is another metaphor no one's ever made before, but like the joke people make about the Wachowskis is that after The Matrix, they're like, okay, we're never going to be subtle ever again. And Madonna's career is a similar like escalation of like, okay, did you think Erotica was horny enough? I'm going to come back in 2008 and call my tour for Hard Candy the Sticky and Sweet Tour.
Yeah.
Like she will continue upping the ante until the day that she dies.
Yeah.
And you got to admire it.
The song is good. Like there really isn't much to say about it other than like I like it.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Good song.
Let's move on to the next one. This is the other track from Ray of Light that I put on, and it's the title track, Ray of Light.
Classic. Cannot hear this without thinking of that Family Guy bit. Where Peter is like in the outfit that Madonna's wearing in this music video.
I don't think I know it off the top of my head.
Oh god!
Okay,
Hang on.
I think he's
let me find this.
Maybe I'm just like imagining it, but he's actually in his regular clothes, and he's like singing the song as it does. Like
here we go.
I don't know this.
Oh wow! If you're that tired, Peter, maybe you should have some coffee.
Yeah, you could have some Red Bull.
Red Bull? What the hell is Red Bull?
You never heard of Red Bull? It's an energy drink.
Here you go, Peter. It's on the house.
Great SpawnCon moment here.
Right.
So, what do you think?
Oh.
I think about this literally all the time.
People
Every time I listen to this song.
Set other music to this.
Yeah.
Oh my god! All right, back to the actual song.
Fascinating.
Holy shit!
I'm learning a lot today.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this song fucking rules. Like we talked about earlier, like there's some Madonna stuff that gets dated in an unfortunate way. This is like beautifully, gorgeously dated. Especially as someone like we talked about last week that loves 90s dance music trash and like really cheesy trance stuff. And yeah, this is just like, but it's such a beautiful to me marriage of trash and class. I think that's what makes Ray of Light so great. Is she's taking like this party music and trying to take it to this very like emotional place.
It's so good though. Like the song is just like I just can't deny it. I'm just like, yeah, it gets going.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this one. The order of things sort of we didn't know what it would be. So yeah, this is just a good song. I like this one.
It's great.
I have a lot more to say about the next song, which is Future from Madam X. It's time to meet Madame.
It's
Oh
type
god,
of name
are we already going into the next
I'm
one?
I'm trying to help make sure we can get to the end.
Yeah. It's Ray of Light. You know it. It's again.
We already
it's a great
talked about
song.
You
Ray of
know
Light as a
it.
record.
You love it. I
and-
could talk for years about Ray of Light as a record. You know, what else is there to say? It's incredible.
The Ray, the titular Ray was a Leota, just so you all know.
Ray Leota of Light. Ray of Leota.
A Ray of
So so our next song is oh god, yeah. I will say, okay,
like
I'm gonna
this one.
say, is this song good? No, but I don't think it's
I like
bad.
this
I
one.
don't think it's bad.
No, Rose.
I like this one.
This is I had to hear this one every single night of the Madam X tour, along with several other songs on this record, including Dark Ballet, which is a song that comes on and I like have a sense memory immediately. I think she did. She like the set list was like half like classic bangers and then half like songs from this record. Like she did Killers Who Are Partying. She did
God
not
Control
do
off of Madame X is a great song. I will stand by. I love God Control because it feels
good,
like
yeah.
American Life too. But
Definitely.
a lot of the record is like reggaeton fetishism garbage, and this is.
I'm sorry, I can't
one
help
of them.
myself. It's just I hear it and I go, great job, G.
It is really funny. I hate the I guess you would say reggae influence on this song.
Yeah.
And I really hate like there have been a lot of phoned in features by members of Migos in the last 10 years. This is so phoned in, it's like beamed in from another galaxy. It's
You
like,
want to know what I was reminded of spiritually? Not like it obviously does not sound similar at all, but I was really reminded of the lead single off of Katy Perry's "Witness."
Oh, it is very Dark Horse in a certain way.
No, the lead one off of "Witness" with
Chained
all
to the Rhythm?
Migos.
Oh, Chained to the Rhythm?
Or the one with all the Migos on it. I can't remember the name.
What's that song
Bon
called?
Appetit. Bon Appetit.
Oh, yeah.
Just spiritually, I was like, this.
Which Bon Appetit, I will go on the record and say Bon Appetit is a good song. It's a very good song.
Absolutely.
You didn't need to do that. No one prompted you.
No one
You didn't
asked
offer
you to
that up.
say that.
Okay, I'm sensing like a 2v2 situation here as a Katy cat and as somebody that loves
she's
Witness.
good. I think she's good. I just think that particular song very bad.
I'll stand by the fact Witness is a great album and Bon Appetit is excellent. I do see the comparisons though between that and this, though I think this is the worse version because at least on Bon Appetit it feels like both Katy Perry and Migos are like present. Here it's like they're like phoning it in, Madonna included, you know.
They're having fun with it at least. Like, yeah, this song is so like it's trying to be sort of vibey, and in the process is being sort of like half dead.
This is very
It's
anemic, but I find it funny.
It's cod reggae,
right?
You know, it's just
yeah, having to hear this every single night, like going back to what I was saying about the "How do you do, fellow kids." This is the most, not only in terms of like how out of place she feels on this song, culturally, but also just like the chorus being this like semi-inspiring, like not everyone's going to the future, not everyone's coming from the past or whatever. It's like, Madonna, you're not going to the future. You're old. I'm sorry to break it to you.
No, she's got a plan.
Madonna stuns
Listen,
in new
if I
selfie.
could believe anyone has like a Walt Disney's Frozen head-ass plan for their life, it's Madonna.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, she's gonna try. Don't get me wrong. But
So-
like it.
she's probably already been doing the shit that tech CEO is doing, where he's like taking blood from his teenage son. Like she's probably doing that with her daughter.
No, listen,
you
that guy
know?
was also injecting himself with
Allegedly.
estrogen. Let's be very clear. His youth plan is literally just getting force-femmed. There is a difference here.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, this is not very good.
This is not good.
But that
Madame-
does mean that we're ending on a great song, which I'm very happy about.
Madame X, I think we need to take a second to explain the character
Do
of
we
Madame X.
need to enter the twisted mind?
Primarily the fact that she wears an eye patch and that is her character.
Oh, this is very important. Yes, she does.
That's
wear an
very
eye patch.
important to understanding this era is that Madonna loves an alter ego. But this era she switched it and said, I'm gonna do an alter ego, but this time with an eye patch. And it's gonna be fun and freaky. And it was neither of those things.
Yeah, I do really like that, like, because she's so committed to this, like, she's literally the artist that invented the idea of pop star eras, right? Like, she's the
Yes.
artist that invented
Yes.
the idea, but because she has done, it's like if every time you've got to reinvent, you've got to put on a new costume, all of a sudden you're out of costumes to do, and she's just like looking around like a fucking like costume.
She's going to Party City, like you just see Madonna.
Literally, she just like sees an eye patch, and she's just like, maybe this question mark, like she's just grasping at straws at this point.
Right.
She grabs like a costume off the shelf, and she goes to her manager, and she's like, "Can we do this?" And he's like, "That's the puppet from Saw. You can't do that. That's already been done."
It's like she's painted herself into a corner by doing like all of the now,
because it's like, where else do you go?
Eras.
Literally,
exactly.
Where else do you go from here? It's like
the future,
putting on an eye patch and being friends with Sam Smith. Like, it's like, when you've already transgressed all that you can, where do you go?
Yeah, the whole Madam X thing was so confusing because it was like, on one hand, she's trying to be like, oh, this is even more forward thinking than the last one, but then there's like the Portuguese music influence question mark,
right?
And then there's also like all of the like the persona of it is just very confused and very mishmash is the vibe in general,
which is crazy because we're ending, I think, on one of her most straightforward and simple hits of her career,
which is What It Feels Like for a Girl from Music.
So I had never heard this one until this playlist, and
really?
I really like this song. This might be my favorite on the playlist.
This song is incredible.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Matty, question: have you ever listened to Frou Frou?
Of course I did. Yeah, I listened to that record last year. It's a good record.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. This is Guy Sigsworth, the guy that produced that record.
That's why I was trying to figure out why this sounded like so familiar to me. Like, it has the same kind of like I listened to this. Obviously, it's got like the frou frou kind of drum work, especially, but also a little bit of like some of the drum work you'd hear on like Kid A a little bit too.
Oh, totally.
You know?
It's very it's this combination of like kind of the like early 2000s classy electronica meeting like this sort of adult contemporary pop thing.
Very adult contemporary. Yeah. I like this song. I think it's really nice. I think it's cute. I like the version she recorded in Spanish that nobody knows about, called Lo que siente la mujer. That one she's just singing the song in Spanish. I think it's great. I love when pop stars do like a Spanish version for no reason at all.
I love this song. Obviously, you might imagine that it's particularly sentimental for me for reasons. It's great though. It's like the little opening part is like she's spitting. Yeah, she's like, you don't want to be a girl because to you being a girl is degrading. Yeah, she's like that sums up so much of men's whole fucking thing. And it's really great. But it's just like, she doesn't for a career that has so many examples of her overdoing it, stepping out of a line, etc. There is something that feels almost miraculous about the fact that this song just doesn't do anything out of pocket.
Yeah. And that's why, I think it's, one of her most beautiful. And I like it for the same reasons that I like Ray of Light. In many ways, it feels like it should be on Ray of Light. But
I agree with that. It's definitely the most Ray of Light song on music.
Right.
The rest of music is a little more music.
It's like quirky country,
people come together.
Exactly.
I don't know why. Kind of like French techno house sound. That's very minimalist and
right.
Clickety clackety and beepity boopity.
Right.
Is all over the record and was most famous for working with Bjork. So he wasn't working on the last one on Ray of Light, but now she is straight up getting. And I believe I remember, if the story is correct, that they started working together even though he did not know any English and she did not know any French. So it took them a while to figure out how to collaborate, but they figured it out.
Yeah. Which, if you do want some more information on, the Madonna, obviously there's a great Todd in the Shadows Train Records episode on American Life.
Take a Shot.
Take a Shot. There's a very fascinating look at that record. But yeah, this record is, again, this song is good. I definitely need to listen to more Madonna albums in full is the thing that I'm learning from this episode, is getting a better picture of her overall work. You know,
that is the thing,
it seems like
with more than other pop stars, even the hits are a huge part of it, and she had huge hits even later in her career. Hung Up is a song that is so big,
iconic, legendary
for a song that late in her career, and other songs that are just enormous that we didn't talk about in this record either for one reason or another. But yeah, like she has just like again, a land of contrast. There's all kinds of other weird nooks and crannies throughout, and experiments and sex books and and movies about Dick Tracy.
Drop
and
just sex book is cleaner.
It's true. It's just called Sex Book. That's right.
Yeah,
Madonna is a woman that contains multitudes, and
exactly.
I think understanding that is key to understanding her, where she could do the country electro moment and then 2 songs later pivot into making the most beautiful song you've ever heard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But
this
that just does it. It was a great. I think this was a success. I had a very fun time playing this game, because the reality is that even when Madonna, it's like, yes, on one hand, I'm sure being an active Madonna fan, living through the ups and downs of all of these albums would be like serving in the Marines. And she does test us in many ways, but like at the same time, even when she's like at her worst, like you said, the worst thing she could be is boring, and she very, very rarely is boring.
Right. Because even bad Madonna, as we've covered, is like funny and interesting, you know,
and not even purely in a Gavin like funny song equals good song inherently. Like they are funny, but they also like have a competency to them. Even like very rarely do you hear train wrecks that are so like competently put together as you do in Madonna catalog, right?
Right.
Even when she's missing, she's hitting the wrong target, but she's hitting it accurately.
Exactly.
Because that, I guess my question for both of you, as the resident Madonna fans on this episode, do you still think that she could put out a great record, like in the next like 10 or 15 years?
No.
Because even like Reanna was saying, like there's kind of a debate. There was literally, I think it might have been Eric that posed this, but like a sort of poll among Madonna fans, like, okay, Confessions of a Dance Floor is the last like canonical Madonna record in terms of it being like the last one that like had hits and kind of felt like she still had some grasp. And then so Hard Candy onward are sort of the outcast Madonna albums. And a lot of people disagree on which one of those is the least bad. No one thinks any of them are like great as like start to finish like albums, but like even Madam X, which is terrible, like it does have occasional moments where it's like, wait, what is she cooking? Like
I posted, I think like Jackie, you responded, we talked about this on Twitter, because I posted like in May, I was like, what is the best late career post Confessions Madonna record? And Hard Candy won by 64%, which I do think is accurate. I love Hard Candy, but the rest is kind of like nobody thinks it's Rebel Heart. It's mostly tied between MDNA and Madame X after Hard Candy. So it's like, even then it's like, it's very like up in the air. Hard Candy is a great record. I like it. I love the production, as we've already talked about, but like I don't know if she has the potential to make another Ray of Light, for example, or not even shooting for Ray of Light, like another music. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
Because I feel like Ray of Light is kind of an unattainable standard for her to reach, kind of lightning in a bottle vibes. But like, I don't know. I feel like maybe like music has progressed past the need for Madonna to make groundbreaking records.
I think definitely. I think, like the fact that we are recording this in the middle of like Taylor Swift ascending from like superstar to God Emperor,
right?
Is telling, because Taylor Swift is kind of the anti-Madonna in a lot of ways.
Right? Exactly.
Like, even though she's billing this tour as her era's tour, the secret to Taylor Swift is that the actual era is its one era, and it's your friend Taylor Swift who she is really the original kind of like parasocial pop star in that way.
So
and
true.
There is something about that, like there's a more kind of conscious thing with like each of these are a costume, whereas Madonna's like, no, I'm not just like wearing a different stage outfit for this album than I do for the other one. She's like, I am fucking committing. I am going to Portugal. And like, she doesn't necessarily get good results out of going to Portugal, but damn it, she's gonna go, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the spirit.
As is her God-given rights.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well then, that'll do it for this episode. Reanna, thank you so much for coming on once again.
Of course. Any opportunity to talk about Madonna is a good one.
Yeah. Go listen to Switched on Pop. Go follow Reanna on Twitter. And that'll do it for us this week. Next week, let me see what we got on the schedule for next week real quick. I feel like this is an appropriate episode to do after Madonna. MTV Days before the MTV craze. Madonna is definitely one of the artists that really broke through thanks to MTV. So it makes sense that we're kind of going back to the MTV days, or at least before MTV, for our next episode. So hopefully you all tune in next week for that. But in the meantime, hopefully you enjoyed listening to this episode. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.